What if I told you that one of the oldest empires in human history never actually fell? That while Babylon turned to dust, Rome collapsed into ruins, and even mighty Egypt faded into memory, one empire lived on. A long-lasting empire that survived Mongol invasions, Greek conquest, Islamic revolutions, and even modern warfare. Persia never died. It became Iran. Reviews the story of the empire that refused to die. And begin our journey in a place that has shaped the course of human history. It is here in these lands where the Achaemenid Empire was born. Around 550 BC, a man named Cyrus the Great rose from the kingdom of Anshan. But Cyrus had a vision. He wanted to unite these scattered Persian tribes under one banner and establish an empire unlike any other. Cyrus dreamed of a realm that stretched from the Indus Valley to the Aegean Sea, and with cunning military tactics and a dash of diplomacy, he achieved his goal. His empire wasn't just big, it was revolutionary. Cyrus was a visionary leader who treated his subjects with respect, embracing their diverse cultures and religions. He even went so far as to allow the Jews to return to their homeland and rebuild their temple. Under Cyrus, the Jews had become a province of the Persian Empire. No longer did they have to scatter and hide. Now they had a home once again. As the empire flourished, Cyrus laid down the foundations for a system of governance that echoed through history. He appointed loyal administrators called satraps to govern distant provinces, a system that would be copied by many empires to come. He established a network of roads and a common currency, linking his far-flung domains in ways that had never been seen before. But perhaps most importantly, Cyrus understood the value of diversity. Instead of imposing Persian culture on those he conquered, he respected local customs, making everyone feel like they had a stake in the empire's success. Now, Cyrus was a great leader, but he wasn't alone. By his side was his son Cambyses II, who continued his father's legacy of conquest and cultural appreciation. Together, they expanded the empire to include Egypt and Libya. When Cyrus passed away, it was Cambyses who took the reins. Under his reign, the empire reached from Central Asia to the Mediterranean, creating a cultural melting pot that few had ever imagined. But not everyone was thrilled about this union of cultures. Enter the Greeks. For the Greeks, the Persian Empire was a threat, a looming giant that cast a shadow over their freedom. This tension would soon boil over into the Greco-Persian Wars, a clash of cultures that would forever change the course of history. One might think that after centuries of war, the Persian Empire would crumble, but they were wrong. Though the Persians faced setbacks against the Greeks, their spirit was unbroken. They adapted, reorganized, and rose again, proving that they weren't just survivors, they were true conquerors. Yet even amidst this resilience, the winds of change began to stir. Alexander the Great was on the march. He had dreams of an empire that knew no bounds, and the Persians were in his path. The year was 330 BCE when Alexander stormed Persepolis, the heart of the Persian Empire. Fire engulfed the palaces, the capital was sacked, and the Achaemenids seemed to be on the brink of oblivion. But do you know what happened next? A group of nomadic horsemen known as the Parthians stepped in. They were warriors on horseback, deadly with bow and arrow, and they weren't afraid to stand up to the mighty Alexander. They harassed his troops, ambushed his supply lines, and ultimately forced him to flee. The nomads had shown the superpower that even giants could be challenged. Alexander never forgot this humiliation, and it left a scar on his ambition. As Alexander's empire fractured after his death, the Parthians saw their chance, formed their own empire, one that would last for 200 years. Throughout the struggles with the Greeks, the Persians hadn't just endured, they had learned. They picked up the Macedonian skills of cavalry combat and combined it with their traditional archery prowess. The result was a formidable fighting force, one that would shape the ancient world for centuries to come. But the story doesn't end there. After the Parthians, another Persian dynasty rose to power. They were the Sassanids, and they, too, had a vision of reviving the former Persian glory. They took inspiration from the Achaemenids, not just in their goals, but also in their methods. The Sassanids understood the importance of administration, cultural sensitivity, and military strength. They revived the old satrapy system, championed Zoroastrianism, and created a standing army that was second to none. The art and architecture of the Sassanids was a testament to their grandeur. They built palaces and temples that celebrated light and fire, symbols of their faith and their resilience. In fact, During the reign of Khosrow, known as Anushirvan, the empire reached its peak. His rule was marked by justice, scientific advancement, and cultural flourishing. It was a golden age, a beacon of Persian pride in the face of adversity. During this time, the Sassanids faced off against the Romans and the Byzantines, showing the world that Persia wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. But even the mighty Sassanids couldn't hold back the tide of change. In the 7th century, the Arab armies swept across the Middle East, bringing with them a new religion, Islam. The year was 651 CE when the Sassanid Empire met its end. But here's the twist. Persia didn't vanish. It transformed. The Persians embraced Islam, becoming its scholars, poets, and scientists. The Persian language itself was revived and used to express the essence of Sufism, a mystical form of Islam. Thinkers like Al-Ghazali and Ibn Sina, known in the West as Avicenna, used Persian to explore the depths of Islamic philosophy and theology. Works like the Shahnameh, or Book of Kings, written by Ferdowsi, became cornerstones of Persian literature, preserving the myths and history of their culture for generations to come. Yet despite this cultural evolution, Persia's troubles were far from over. The Mongols arrived and they brought with them a whirlwind of destruction. Cities were burned, millions perished, and Persian fields were turned to wasteland. But even in the face of such devastation, the Persian spirit remained undaunted. They rebuilt their lives, adapted to the new Mongol rulers, and carried on their traditions. Leaders like Timur and Babur emerged, uniting the Mongols and Persians in a blend of cultures that would become known as the Timurid Empire. Their mosques, madrasas, and observatories became symbols of resilience, standing tall against the backdrop of Mongol power. And then, in the 16th century, a new dynasty arose, the Safavids. They shifted the balance of power in the region, establishing control over modern-day Iran, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. But their impact went beyond just territorial control. The Safavids chose Shia Islam as the official religion of their empire, a decision that would forever change the religious landscape of the region. This choice wasn't just a matter of faith, it was a political statement that set them apart from their Sunni neighbors and forged a distinct Persian identity. The Safavid rulers built magnificent cities like Isfahan, which became the heart of their empire. The Naqsh Jahan Square, with its ornate mosques and blue-tiled domes, remains a stunning testament to their grandeur. The Safavids also commissioned epic works of art like the Shahnameh, a collection of Persian poetry that celebrated their history and culture. The book, often referred to as the Persian Iliad, stands as a symbol of the Safavid Empire's commitment to the arts and its desire to preserve the rich heritage of its people. But the story doesn't end with the Safavids. The Qajars and then the Pahlavis came to power, each leaving their mark on the Persian narrative. And then, in the 20th century, Iran found itself in the grip of a revolution. The Shah was overthrown, and in his place, a theocracy was born. Today, Iran stands tall, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Persians. Yes, they may have faced challenges in recent times, but to truly understand Iran's story is to realize that they have always risen above their challenges. Persia never died. It evolved, adapted, and triumphed. And that's why the ancient Persians deserve our admiration. They taught us that a civilization isn't defined by its borders or rulers, but by the strength of its people. The Persians showed us that cultural exchange isn't a weakness, but a source of strength. And they proved that even in the darkest times, hope and resilience can pave the way to a brighter future. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because remember, Persia never died. It lives on in Iran. And your journey through history of world is far from over, so join us. Who knows where we'll travel next? Until then, stay curious, stay open-minded, and above all, stay resilient like the Persians, who taught us that empires may rise and fall, but the human spirit will always endure. Thanks for joining me on this episode of History of World. If you want to join the History of World community, we have a server for you to chat with other history lovers. We also have a page where you can share this video with your friends.